This video will cover custom meshing and UV mapping. Last time we left off, we heavily modified a footman. We gave him 2 swords, a cape, and a new head. Today we're going to update the texture of his armor, give him new shoulder guards, an arsenal of weapons, and a beard made from scratch. First, go to Windows, down to MPQ browser, File, War3 MPQ, down to Units, Human, and the Captain. Right-click the captain.plp and use as texture. So what we just imported is this right here. This is very useful because it has the same layout as the footman's texture. Control left-clicking on a mesh. This will highlight both the geoset and the material. So double-click on the material, double-click that, go to footman and change it to the captain. We're going to be doing this for both of them. Now here you'll have 2 materials. One is the actual team color, leave that alone. The other one is the actual texture itself. We're going to be updating that. File, save, and let's move over to MDLVIS. We're going to begin by giving him new shoulder guards. Highlight the required geoset. That'll be geoset 2 for this particular model. Press A to use your work tool. Left click and drag over the polygon. Press Q to use this tool up here, the move tool. Control C, Control V, that's copy and paste. Going to move it up. Now you'll notice right here, this tool has 3 red lines around it, create triangle. That's because this is actually 3 polygons that are just crushed very, very close together. We don't necessarily want that, so we're going to weld them all into one point, just like that. Select it again, copy, paste. Middle mouse button to rotate your camera. We're going to use this button right here, rotate with R. Hold down left shift and left click and drag on the ZX axis, located up here, till that's about straight. Press Z or hold down left shift and left click and drag down. That'll make sure that this is level. Now, without holding down shift, left click and drag to the right. That will move these polygons apart. Now copy and paste these again. Press B. That'll weld those 2 together. So now we have 3. This is enough to make a triangle. Now select all 3 and press T right here. This is going to be the foundation of our new shoulder guard. Rotate this so it faces the front of the model. You'll notice the number underneath the Z right here is changing. Once that shows -90, it's facing perfectly. Now I'm going to vocalize aloud everything I'm about to do. Control C, Control V. I'm going to click on move or press Q. I'm going to click on ZX, hold down left shift and drag down. Control C, Control V, copy paste. Hold down left shift and drag up. Now on the YZ axis right here, hold down shift, left click and drag over here, pressing A. I'm going to click and drag across this polygon. Control C, Control V, copy paste. To do it again and drag this final one with the ZX axis all the way up here. Press A, left click and drag over 3 polygons, and press T to create a triangle. Do this again until they're all connected. When I switch back to textured view, you'll see there's some holes in it. This is because when I was butting it together, some of the triangles were appearing backwards. To fix this, simply click on one of the invisible triangles and reverse the normals with this button here. Back into wireframe view, left click and drag this, left click move or press Q. Under the YZ axis, we're going to shift these around. ZX here. And that's the shape we want. It's completely flat, so we're going to grab these 3 polygons in the front. Go back into wireframe view, XY view. Now with move, hold down shift, left click and drag forwards. Alright, that's about what we're looking for. Now press A, left click and drag over the entire selection, go over to UV maps. This is the UV mapping screen. This is the same texture or the material mirrored about 1 billion times. Now this little blue dot right here, this is all of the polygons we just created. Obviously we don't want it to be flat red, so we're going to select these and press projection. This creates a blown up map of the mesh we've got selected. Now, right click and drag to move your camera. Press Q with these selected to drag them around. Press A for the selection tool. We're going to click and drag over all of these. Press Q to use your move tool, and then left click and drag to move these around. Press R to use the rotate tool. And if you left click and drag, it'll rotate your selection. Press Z to use the zoom tool. If we left click and drag left, our selection grows smaller. Left click and drag right, and it gets bigger. And finally, these two buttons up here. The button on the left mirrors your selection left and right. The one on the right mirrors it up and down. Alright, that'll do. Now, back in work mode, we're going to select the mesh, Control C, Control V to copy and paste. Move this up, get it pretty close. Alright, now with YZ axis selected, press this button right here. This has mirror flipped our selection. Move this backwards now. And right along where these two meshes intersect, press A, left click and drag over each of these areas, and press B to weld it together. Now, obviously that's not supposed to be invisible, but like last time, just select the invisible section and reverse it. There we go. It's a little narrow, so we're going to select the entire mesh, press Z, and on the XY axis, hold down left shift and drag to the right to make it thicker. Okay, on the inside here, this will be visible from the portrait, so we're going to select the 5 polygons facing the inside. Control C, Control V, copy paste. Lift this up, holding down shift using the move tool. Copy and paste again, and this time, with these new polygons here, press B. That welds that all together into one point. Now we're just going to link these together. Now back to the UV map with this selected. So select a polygon, press A, left click and drag over the polygon, press Q, and drag it to the one just opposite. Do this again for each section, folding them all in on themselves until you only have a triangle left. Now with these outermost points, we're going to select these, Q, drag them down, and just like that, that should get us a nice rim. Let's see how it turned out. Alright, not bad. So this is our pauldron now. Now, where it intersects, left click and drag over these, and do not press B, don't weld this together. What that will do is that will break the UV map like this. Now, if I select this and view it, it's stretched across here. We don't want that. Press Ctrl Z to undo that, and instead, zoom in, press Z to use this tool up here, the resize tool, and left click and drag left. This will knit this together without binding it. Alright, that's one pauldron done. Now, to save time, we're going to copy this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, raise it up to the same height, and with ZX selected, press this button right here to mirror, YZ, drag it over, and reverse it right here. That has saved us a whole lot of work. These shoulder guards do look a little bit plain, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give it 2 levels. I'm going to select a shoulder guard, copy and paste, press Z and left click and drag left to shrink it a bit. I'm going to move to the side, lower it some more, maybe, there we go. Alright, that's looking a little better. I'm going to mirror that into the other side, so I'm going to select the smaller shoulder guard here, copy it, raise it up. With the ZX tool, mirror it here, right here. Drag it over. And reverse normals. Now we're going to delete the old shoulder guards here. Now select the new shoulder guards, use the move tool, ZX for up and down, and drag them down. Now they're not a perfect fit, so we're going to rotate them by pressing R, hold down left shift, and left click and drag. This will rotate it along this axis. We're just going to tilt these a little bit forwards to be in line with the arm. Now nudge them forwards a bit. Alright, now we have splendid looking shoulder guards, but a totally ruined body. I've got an idea for this though. Alright, so we're going to select the geoset that the body is part of. Just select it. Nothing on the outside really. Grab the bottom part as well. Alright, so we're going to copy this with Ctrl C. Move over to the mesh that has the cape, and paste this with Ctrl V. There we go. Alright, over to UV maps now. So this is what the breastplate's layout looks like on the footman texture, but obviously it doesn't fit this one. So we're going to close this. Look at the mesh as close to head on as we can get it. We'll have this read 270 and this read 90. Let's Ctrl A to select all of them in projection. Alright, now we're going to fit this to the cape down here. Press A to use your selection tool. We're going to left click and drag over each of these areas where the bottom doesn't quite line up. Use the zoom tool, drag these down into a single point. Now we're going to finish fitting this to the rest of the cape. It looks a little rough, but it'll do for now. Now going back to the body, we're going to delete the original body, very carefully though. So with our current selection, press A, hold down left control and left click on all of the triangles that are connected to the body that we don't absolutely want to delete. When you're pretty sure you got them all, press delete. Now back to the cape geoset. We're going to select the body. Underneath geosets, click show all. Now we're going to position this right up where the old one used to be. And let's remap this a little bit. And now a complicated part. Go up to modules, sequence manager. Oop, that's supposed to happen. This rather vague error is here to tell us that some of the polygons on our model are not bound to any bones. In order to fix that, we're going to select bones. Yep. Now that's going to reappear with every single click you take, so it's going to fight you for this. Go to wireframe view, turn to the side to get a good look at your model. Yep. Now select the new footman's breastplate we just made. Close that. Click the chest bone, which appears to be right here. Close that. And bind it. And just like that, no more errors. Back to modules and back to vertex editor. We're going to uncheck show all. And let's copy these pieces right here. Let me change the team color so it's easier to see. We're going to select these two polygons here, copy, paste, raise them up and drag them out. Now left click and drag over each of these and press B to weld them into one point. This is going to ensure that we can make triangles out of these. Now with our free floating polygons, select them again. We're going to press Z, the zoom tool, resize tool, drag these out a bit, raise them up a little bit more, and now link them to the rest of the body. To quickly make triangles, press A, left click on the nearest triangle, hold down Control, left click and drag over the polygon you don't want, hold down Shift, left click and drag over the one you do, and press T. Press F to go into wireframe view, hold down Control, deselect this polygon up here, so that this way we are only holding two polygons once again. Shift, left click and drag over the next one, press T, and repeat this process all the way around the arm. Alright, with that filled in, we're going to select the entire thing, holding Shift and left click, and reverse the normals. Now for the other side. And reverse normals. And there we go, no more holes. It looks a little unnatural here up at the neck, so press A to use the work mode tool. Hold down left shift and left click on each of the triangles around the neck. I'm going to rotate to the back here and grab the ones back here as well. Control C to copy. I'm going to move back to the footman mesh up here at the very top and paste. Here it is. I'm going to move this, that way it's showing just on top. Now let's UV map this. Now go back to the cape. Here we're going to select the very top polygon and delete that. This will create a hole on the top that's covered by the new neck piece we just made. Press A, select them, Z, and shrink them in on themselves. Remember, don't weld. I messed up. I didn't select the entire thing before moving over, so I'm going to do my best to knit the ones we do have. Select this triangle, copy it, paste it, raise it up, mirror it, reverse normals, drag it over. Now we're going to unselect this, bind all of these points together here. On the side, we're going to take a shortcut. Select the 3 points and create a triangle by pressing T. If you press T and nothing happens, don't worry, it just applied upside down, reverse normals. There you go. Back to this geoset, and knit these points together using the zoom tool. The torso in the middle here is looking a little thin, so let's add a belt. There's two ways to do this. I'm going to do the mildly more complicated one just because it'll look better. We're going to select the entire middle, deselect the back of the cape, my bad. Select the entire bottom, copy and paste, raise this all the way up here, and delete the bottom of his skirt. Now up here, select each of these points and weld them together by pressing B. Once they're all welded, select them all, copy and paste. We're going to do this twice. These free-floating polygons will become the basis of our new build. Now selecting these in batches of 3, press T to give them triangles. And because these triangles went on backwards, we're going to select the entire belt and reverse the normals. Now look at the mesh straight on. Select the polygons and hit projection. Alright, not bad. Drag this down, press A, and knit these together with Z. I'm going to select the entire thing now and bring it back down. Now its waist is obviously too narrow here, so I'm going to use the zoom tool. Now let's make it a little taller by holding down Shift and left clicking and dragging. Now because we've been moving meshes back and forth between geosets, the model has become unstable again. We're going to save it, and then go over to Modules, Sequence Editor, Bones. Now the fun begins. We're going to select all of the geosets we've just been working on, uncheck Show All, so now go to Wireframe View, press A, left click and drag over all of this. Now highlight the bone in the middle of his chest, and bind all of this to that. The shoulder guards are going to be a little trickier. So, if we click on this, you'll notice that it lights up the entire arm, but it also lights up some bones somewhere near his head. This is because old Blizzard models use redundant bones in the skeletons. So what we're going to do, click on this batch up here until the one in the shoulder lights up black. Oh, that was quick. Alright. Now we're going to press Q, YZ, hold down Shift, left click and drag this over, then ZX, drag this down. So now that's much closer to the shoulder. That's where we want it to be. Do the same for the other shoulder now. Oh, look at that. That was quick. And drag this over and down. Grab all of these polygons on the right shoulder guard and bind them to this new bone here. Just like that. So the shoulder guards have been bound. That's good. However, the leg pieces down here, those will need to move with each leg. And the neck plate up here, this will need to be static along with the rest of the body. So we're going to select it. Select the chest, and bind. Now we're going to go down to the legs. We're going to perform the same operation that we did on the shoulders. Click on these bones. There we go, until you get a leg bone to light up down here. Then drag this down, and the same with this one. Okay, back on this geoset again. We're going to select the leg pieces down here. Bind these. And with the other leg, the same on this side, but not in the middle. We don't want to bind these solidly in the middle. Select these middle polygons here, and press this button instead, Attach Verticals to Bone. Down here we have the list of the bones that these polygons are sharing. So these will both react half and half to what each of these legs are doing. This should prevent any sharp tearing or unwanted stretching. The fabric down here is uneven, so we're going to select it. Use the zoom tool, ZX, left shift, and left click. And drag this to be much more level all the way across. To broaden it a little bit, lower it quite a bit for the legs underneath. Because these are going to be, for the most part, completely invisible in-game, we're going to shrink these, first by making them not stick out quite as far as they usually do, and then by lowering them. Alright, not too bad. Now just in here, his armpits are sticking in a little bit too much. So we're going to drag these out by using the zoom tool and clicking and dragging right. This will push these two polygons further apart. There we go. For a footman, he's come up quite a bit in the world. Let's see if we can take away that slouch he's got. Left click and drag over these two pieces. Press Z for the zoom tool. Left click and drag and slowly push these out a bit. Alright, and don't forget to save. You will see that his head no longer lines up with his body. Well, we can drag this however we will, and that will never line up properly. In order to fix that, we're going to go here, uncheck the geosets we're not working on, select this, and use this button right here, uncouple. This will detach all of these triangles from this point and push it outwards, like so. Now that may look like a spidery mess, but that's what we want. So what we're going to do is bind these until we have the same shape up here that the head does down here. So we're looking for about a triangle shape on the top. We're going to start by selecting these four, pressing B to weld them together. These ones in the back we'll select here, B, B. Now we select these back three polygons and create a triangle. There we are. And the same on this seam up here. There's no need to fill in this spot right here because this will be hidden by the neck. So there's where our triangle is in relation to the neck. I'm going to press Z, left click and drag outwards to expand this. Position it pretty close to where I want it to be. And now modify the head to fit it. So both the head and the crown are a little bit off center. Select the entire head and the crown, and shift them both just to the right a bit. And finally, where the models intersect, we're going to just knit that shut. Save your model, go to Modules, Sequence Editor again, Bones, and because we used the Uncouple tool, that actually really messed up the bones around the neck plate up here. These are no longer quite certain what they should be attached to. So we're going to reselect these. Click on our newly renamed chest main, and bind them. There we go, no stretching or warping. Now let's give this guy a beard. We're going to select his lower jaw, drag this all the way up. Here you can see it wasn't a perfect selection, so we're going to bind these together. Go over each and every one of these and weld them together. Wherever you're missing a triangle, select the polygons and press T. Now we're going to go back down, grab his upper lip, copy and paste, and drag this up here. And this will become the foundation of the new beard. So we're going to first wrap the mustache, go to UV Maps. We're going to take this, move it over what looks like it can make for a good mustache base. That'll do. Alright, now for the beard proper. Right now, we're just seeing what works. Alright, so on the side at least, it looks like we've got a good texture. The front, though, not so much. A little too much. Alright, that'll do. Now back down here, we're going to select the very tip of his chin. Just these, and delete them. And then on either side, just click the triangles here, and here. Press this button right here, delete triangle. Select your beard, and drag it down. We're going to seal these. And without a mustache, so this looks really properly weird. It'll get better though, trust me. Alright, here at your mustache, grab the very front lip and drag this forwards. This will help you immensely with the perspective. Now select the entire thing, and drag it down. Release these top polygons, and shift and drag this to stretch it. So the beard is applied, but the mustache looks a little bit angular, and the beard looks kind of like brown spaghetti. Let's fix that. starting with the jaw. Almost. I think it looks upside down right now. Alright, that's worlds better. Now the same with the mustache. Huh, who does this remind you of? In order to smooth out the mustache to make sure it has a nice curve at the top, we're going to grab this polygon right here and uncouple it. We're going to weld the top one, drag this one across and down, and this one only halfway across and halfway down. Now just fill this in with triangles. Alright, that's a little better. Same for the other side. Alright, he's got a beard, but it's a little bit on the short side. I'm going to grab his chin, well, now his beard, and drag this out a little bit. Now we're going to select his lower lip, and UV map this to give this a little bit of a shade down here where it comes to meet the beard. So here, I'm just going to drag this down a bit. Lastly, I will demonstrate how to create 3 weapon types from scratch. So we're just going to start off with one polygon, copy and paste, and drag this up here. We're going to copy and paste to get 2. Select these, copy and paste again, and move this up right on top of the original selection. Hit R, go to rotate, YZ, hold down Shift, left click and drag until the coordinates at the top read 90. Now give these some triangles, and make sure they both face outwards. That's towards us. With our newly created plane, we're going to copy this, raise it up, and drag it back. Now we're going to face this away from us. So here's our metal pipe. We're going to be turning this into a sword, a rifle, and a bow. Let's start by making the sword. So we're going to copy the pipe, raise it up, push it all the way forwards, and delete the triangles with the button here. We're going to weld all of these into 1 point with the press of B. And here, we're going to delete the triangles as well. Drag the point back. We're going to use X, Y, and make this a little longer. Then we're just going to take the tip, copy, paste, raise this up, and with YZ, flip it backwards, just like that. Move it all the way back. Reverse the normals. Press Z and stretch this up. Press XY, make this a little narrower, like that, and drag it just up here. There we go. That's a sword form. So, starting from the pipe design again, in order to get the effect of the end of a barrel, we're going to copy and paste the very end, drag this up, delete all the triangles, copy, paste, and then immediately weld your selection. Now we're going to put that in the middle, link these together. Alright, select the whole thing, UV map, And there you go, the world's most basic rifle. And finally, the bow and arrow. Now created the basis for 3 weapon types. With this, you've successfully modified the Footman, giving him a heroic beard, magnificent new shoulder guards, new body armor, and a variety of weapons to choose from. Your edit is complete and the model is stable. There's still a lot more ground to cover though. I'll be covering that in the next video. Thanks for watching.